Hey guys, Austin here. Today I really felt called just to make a video today about depression, understanding what depression is, and general tips to overcome it. So I'm Austin again. I'm a licensed professional counselor candidate, which means I'm going towards my licensure. And I'm just going to share general tips on tips and tricks that I've found helpful with my clients, myself, on understanding and overcoming depression. Now, while these are general tips, I want to let you know that this is not a replacement for therapy. It's not therapeutic advice. These are general tips and they might not apply to your specific situation. So you are ultimately responsible for how you use this information and doing your own research. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So what is depression? Depression is at least a 2-week period where you are experiencing a depressed mood or a loss of interest in pleasant activities. So depressed mood, sadness, deep sadness. It's also more than that. We will get into that. That there's other symptoms such as fatigue. Everything's an effort, right? There's significant weight change. It could be lower or increased weight. Feeling worthless. It could be, it's harder for you to focus and concentrate. That could be another one, like on the TV or reading a book. That could be another symptom. And oversleeping and undersleeping can be one as well, and suicidal ideation. So those are some of the symptoms. Now, what are some things that lead into a depressive episode? Like, what causes it? I'm gonna be careful on the word cause, but factors that can correlate to a depressive episode can be significant life events. This could be grief. It can be, grief that could include heartbreak. It can include the loss of somebody through death. It could include a loss of a job. That can be a grief process too. Another one can be anxiety, trauma, and chemical imbalances. And of course, all the ones that I mentioned can contribute to chemical imbalances, but sometimes it can be a genetic chemical imbalance as well, that you might need medication to help you to work through and balance that out. So if significant life events, those lead, so that's a factor. Another factor is your lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do you have? So some of the lifestyles that, the three main ones is that can contribute to a depressive episode is the sedentary lifestyle of like not working out, not being active, just being in your room, on your phone, TikToking all day long. Another one can be the loner lifestyle. So I call that the loner lifestyle. That really just means, you're alone, you're not talking to people, you're isolated, you're in your room, you're in your house, you're not talking to anybody. And then the third one, you guys might be a little shocked about this one, but the third one is the night owl or the night shift worker, the nocturnal. So there's actually a study done by Harvard and MIT. They both worked together and they found that night owls and night shift workers, people who work during the night and who are just up late at night and who sleep during the day a little bit, they found that there's a correlation, a positive correlation between night owls and increased likelihood of depression. And the reason for why that is that they found is, well, one of the reasons for why that is because human beings, we are naturally hardwired to be active, right? That's for like the sedentary lifestyle. We are naturally hardwired to be social, and we're also naturally hardwired to be diurnal. That means the opposite of nocturnal. That means that we're hardwired to be active during the day. That's kind of what evolution has evolved our circadian rhythms, because the night owl, the issue with being of like the night shift workers and also the night owls, like one possible actually there's many possible reasons for why that could be. It's because being a night owl, now I'm not saying that just because you're a night owl it means you're depressed. I'm just saying that there's a correlation between that, and it's because being up late at night, it can disturb your circadian rhythm. Your melatonin production is most active in the darkness, and when you're exposing yourself to light to like artificial lighting, you're disrupting that process, and and also being up late at night can impact your social family life because you're not up. It can impact your sleep. It can impact it can impact your nature exposure. So when you're up late at night and sleeping through the day, you're not getting as much sunlight. You're not. It almost feels like you're missing out on the day. I know for me, if I sleep past 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, I'll feel a little depressed, like a little guilty because I'm like, wow, I missed out on some of the day. And I know for me, that's something I can work on too. But I know for me, like I love being an early bird because it's taking charge of the day. And another thing that they found is that night shift workers have increased cortisol levels. So that's a hormone. That's a hormone in your body that it's a stress hormone, basically that activates stress. And then, so those are the three lifestyles. And then we talked about the significant life events. And then I want to share with you, that you're not alone with this. I've been through my own depression a little bit. Of course, depression for me is going to look differently for you, but I know whenever I was in college, I was a music major and I was overwhelmed with all the stuff I had to do. I experienced anxiety and depression, and it was just hard. Every day was an effort, and I remember one day I skipped class, one of the first and only classes I've ever intentionally skipped was during that time. I just did not want to go to school. It was sight singing, and I just did not want to go to school. I did not want to go to that class. And I just sat at home all day watching Scooby Doo and Winnie the Pooh. And that specific coping skill is called regression. And it's basically going back into like a more nostalgic time. Because sometimes what can help with a depressive episode is if you go back to a time when you were happy, something that reminds you of that. And for me, that was watching Scooby Doo, Winnie the Pooh, James Bond, and that kind of helped me through that moment. The other one that I experienced was heartbreak, and that was a tough one. Just going through heartbreak has been really tough. I mean, for me personally, it happened like about half a year ago now, 6 months ago or something like that. And at first, it wasn't as big of a deal, but when I found out that she didn't want anything to do with me anymore, that I just kind of hit a depression. I was like, wow, because I really, was wanting to be friends, to have, romantic feelings with this person. I cared a lot about her, and just when I saw her out one time, she kind of made it apparent to me that she didn't want anything to do with me anymore in her life, and that really hit me hard. And I was up late at night, couldn't go to sleep, and heartbreak's a tough one. Heartbreak's something that I never really thought would make me depressed, but it did. For a few weeks, there's a couple weeks where I just didn't want to do anything, but then I eventually was practicing what I was preaching to my clients, and I was being more active. I got a gym membership. I started doing musicals. I started doing things that I generally wanted to do in my life that I really was putting on the back burner. And to be honest, that heartbreak is probably one of the best things that probably could have ever happened to me because it got me motivated. Like that depression really helps me to connect more with my clients. And I realized that, wow, that even though it sucks, I really thought I could have a life with her, whatever, have kids one day or just whatever. It's just one of those things where you just kind of realize that, it's probably best that it happened how it happened, and then you just move on. And how, you do that is, I kind of mentioned, just getting more active in life. So now that I mentioned that personal anecdote there of how I've kind of overcome through that, there's still times, there's still even times where I still like get down about it. Like I'll still go back to old memories and just, whatever. But it's like, you just kind of realize that they have your number. They can text you anytime they want to, but they don't. And the sad thing is that two people who are so close, who were once so close, can become so far and become strangers again in life. But we gotta move on. Gotta move on because there's other people in life. There's people in life that will come and go, and you just look for the ones who stay. That's how you think of it. The positive reframe there. And I've always gone to the ones who stayed. So that just shows you that even a therapist like me, we're not immune to stuff that goes on with our clients, right? We help other people, but we're all human at the end of the day. We all poop, we all eat, right? We all get sick, right? Same thing with our minds, right? So here's some of the general tips. First, seek professional help. Like I said, call 988. You're paying taxes for that already, so you might as well use that resource. Mental health counselors, psychologists are helpful. They can be expensive, but you can also find cheaper ones at colleges. I know there's interns that are doing their internship, and those are free. Some of them are free services. There's probably a wait list for that, but they're free. And there's also online options as well, like BetterHelp. That's a resource there. So those are some of the general resources there for you. There's also case management services that help you with more of the external resources, like helping you find jobs, helping you with financial resources, disability, unemployment, all that different stuff. And like rehab as well. And then there's also medication managers who just help you in general with getting you on the right medications. That's important too. So I want to talk about the breakdown here. Tips is that to overcome depression, you first want to identify the triggers. Identify the triggers, the events, the things that you notice that lead up to depression, like the red flags, right? So that could be being in your room all day, being in your bed all day, being on your phone all day, doing TikTok or YouTube or whatever. Those things, the happiest person in the world, if the happiest person in the world was in their room all day, on their phone, doing TikTok, had no social life, I mean, they would be depressed, I can imagine. Just any human being, take away their social life, take away like their meaning, take away their purpose, they're gonna take away their activeness in life, their energy, they're gonna be down and depressed. So you're not alone. You're not crazy because you're depressed. Just know that. You're not crazy because you're depressed. You're only crazy if you don't seek the help that you need. Alright, so I know this video is getting long. Appreciate anybody who's staying here with me. So those are the three main ways: is identify your triggers, identify coping skills, then focus on meaning making meaning and going for your purpose in life, discovering what that is and then creating it. And then the 8 dimensions of wellness, right? Wellness, what health is, there's 8 dimensions of that: the existential, the social, physical, career, mental, emotional, financial, and environmental. Those are all the 8 dimensions. I'll have it posted somewhere in this video so you can take a look at that. Here's some of the tips that I want to talk about. The importance of Kaizen. That's a Japanese word meaning just set small goals, small tasks each day that will help you increase your activity. Small goals that will help you build routines. Routines are very important for you to do, and it's important that you just try out small steps. A lot of times when you're depressed, you might say, Austin, I can't even get out of my bed. Well, you just set a small. What you want to do with this Kaizen concept is you want to lower the bar so low to where it's almost laughable. It's like, I'm asking you, can you lift one finger up? Yeah. Can you floss one tooth? Yeah. Can you run 5 steps? 5 miles. Some people can't run 5 miles, so run 5 steps. Some people can't run because of a disability. Well, can you read 1 sentence, 1 paragraph, 1 page? If you just do those small steps, if you break down a complicated task and break it down into small steps, like can you read 1 sentence a day of a book, of your Bible, of whatever you want to read. If you can do that each day, you're going to get into the habit of picking up the book, picking up the string, going outside of your house and walking those 5 steps. Those are the habits that you need to build, the small steps that'll build you momentum. Because what that's going to do is when you break it down to small, easy steps of going outside each day, making that a goal for the day, you're going to get into the habit and you're going to build that momentum because you're going to really encourage yourself that, you know what, you can do this, you are capable. The next step is getting proper sleep, proper nutrition. Again, having a good morning and nighttime ritual, routine, that's really important. I'll talk about more in our future videos that I'll be posting, but having a good morning and nighttime ritual. You can do your research on that, but I plan on making future videos on how to do that to the best effect. The next tip is reading and learning about your problem, your situation. Self-help books can be very practical. It can be helpful just to read and learn through other people who have been through your situation and who can give you guidance. Another tool that can be very helpful is ChatGPT. It's not always accurate, but it's a really cool tool to use. You just type in ChatGPT into Google, and you can use that to really help you find information, answer any questions you have, and just to get more knowledge into you, just to be thinking and develop your curiosity. It's important that you develop a spiritual practice. That's my next tip. I want to turn anybody away here. Spiritual, I'm meaning find a practice that gives you purpose. I'm not saying you got to be religious or anything like that, but find a practice, a ritual that you can do that connects you with nature and with life. That could be going outside, going hiking, doing mindfulness meditation. That's a very good one. I highly recommend. Prayer, can be any of those. Have your spiritual practice. Spiritual meaning what gives you purpose in life, what makes you you, what makes you human. The next tip I kind of mentioned already is mindfulness and also connecting with nature through limiting social media use. It's important that you get outside each day, that you try to be active if you can. And remember, we're taking baby steps here. I'm not asking you to run a marathon. I'm just asking you if you can just take those baby steps to show up to the race of your life. I'm telling you, just showing up is one of the hardest things in life, but I know you can do it. The next one is social support. It's important to increase your social circle. Sometimes if you feel like, with me, I felt really lonely at times too in my life, and I hear you. It's tough. You're not alone. Having a lot of friends leave me in Stillwater has been tough. Having a romantic partner and then them leaving me, that's tough. But you know what? You are resilient. I'm resilient. You are resilient. You can do this. You've already been through so many challenges in life and friendships and stuff. That's something that it takes work. But you know what? The effort and work makes it all worthwhile in the end. If it's easy, it's not really worth as much if it's handed to you on a plate, right? So go out there, go socialize. I've been doing plays and musicals. I've been going out to clubs and bars, just getting out there, going to different events in your community. Go online, search for events in your community, and just start taking part in those. Get into some different activities and hobbies that can connect you more with people. I think that's one of the best ways to do it. And also Facebook groups. I really recommend that as well. The next one is journaling. This is a really key one, especially if you don't have a therapist and don't have access to counseling. If you can get into the habit of journaling, that can help you to identify your triggers. It can help you to gratitude journaling. You can also journal to go back in your life and look at the times when you were really resilient, where you dealt with a challenging situation and you overcame it. Because the fact that you're breathing here today shows that you survived through all the challenges you've ever faced in your life. Do you see that? The fact that you're breathing here today shows me and it shows you that you survived every challenge you've been through. Let that sink in. I want you to also think about, you can also journal to uncover your meaning, purpose, and your goals. If we think so much about other people and our problems in life, we won't really have much time thinking about our solutions and what gives us meaning, what we want to achieve in life. So really important that you focus on visualizing your goals and what you want to achieve in your life. Because the more you focus spending on your failures and what you don't want, that's time you take away from focusing on how you're going to achieve what you want to achieve. And visualization is the next tip I recommend. Visualize yourself waking up in the morning. Visualize your ideal best day of you waking up in the morning, everything going great. If a miracle happened to you tonight, what would that look like? How would you know it would happen? How would you know that the miracle worked the next morning? I want you to think about that question. How would you know that the miracle worked? If I gave you a miracle that you're going to solve all your problems tonight, and when you wake up in the morning tomorrow, how would you know the miracle worked? And you can visualize that. Visualize the first signs that you would notice that would be a miracle has happened. Visualize your ideal day and journal about it. This one deserves a spot on its own, and it's exercising. Exercising is important. You want to get out there, be active, exercise. Remember, take baby steps. Sign up for a gym like I did. Do push-ups, do sit-ups, do pull-ups. You can do things at home. If you don't have a gym, don't let that be an excuse. You can do calisthenics. You can do Pilates. There's many things you can do that can be active. You can go for a walk. A walk is one of the best exercises you can do. Swimming is great as well. Just make sure you're doing it responsibly and don't drown or anything like that. All right, a couple more tips here. Self-care, building hobbies, kind of like what I've already talked about, but it deserves a spot on its own. You want to build hobbies and helpful routines. I'm going to post a hobbies list here somewhere in this video that I want you to see if you can look over it, and you can look through all the hobbies that you find helpful. And then the last tip is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, or what I like to call crushing bad thoughts. I think it's important that you study CBT, and I can teach you some of it, but it's important that you get counseling, that you get that you get a counselor who can listen to you and give you cognitive behavioral therapy. But you can apply some of the basic theories and principles in your life. Cognitive behavioral therapy, crushing bad thoughts. Basically, we have automatic negative thoughts, and all we're trying to do is we're just trying to challenge them. We're trying to see how our thinking is limited. Because a lot of times, there's times in your life where depression makes us think so narrowly that we think that this is the reality, but really we are depressed over a fictional fantasy that we created in our minds. Because depression, it's like from Harry Potter, it's like the Dementors. They take away all of our energy and they make us feel so small. But when you can reflect on all the positive, strong memories that you've had and build those up stronger, then you can use those to cast your Patronus charm and come out of that. And it takes time. It's not easy, right? What we're saying here is not easy at all. These are just tips that you just have to practice and be patient with yourself. These changes aren't going to happen overnight, right? With your situation, you might need these tips and also medication with what you're dealing with. So if these tips don't work, don't let that make you feel worse. Don't let that stop you from getting the help that you need, right? Because sometimes depression, it can be so tough where we actually need medication to change the biochemistry in our brains, all right? And if that's the case for you, then that's the case for you, all right? And then you can get that fixed. Just like how you've solved everything else in your life, you've been through everything in your life, you've survived through everything that you've been through. This is another thing that you can go through, that you can achieve, that you can come out of. So I want to leave with the conclusion here that you are not alone. You are not alone. You are strong. You are stronger than you believe, stronger than you seem. You are amazing. Remember, you survived through so much stuff in your life. You deserve all the happiness. And I'm sorry you're going through such a hard time. I really am. I'm reaching out to you. I believe in you. You can do this. Just see if you can take these baby steps. Try one of these tips out for the next 2 weeks. If you can try more of them, great. Try them out. I really encourage you to really seek out the help, though. There's a stigma with therapy, and I really just want to crush that stigma for you. That there's nothing wrong with asking for help, especially if you're a man. Especially if you're a man. You don't have to be that rock all the time. sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's okay if you break up a little bit. It's okay. Because if you allow yourself to break up a little bit, it'll help us to mold everything more together again. And just seek out the help that you need. We're here for you. We're here for you. Depression convinces you that it will last forever, but it won't. There was a time when you were happy in your life. Reflect on that. You can get back there. If you haven't ever had a time in your life where when you've been genuinely happy, I also want to give you the motivation that you can. You don't have to wait for the New Year's to make your resolutions. You can make them today. Just because you've been having a bad day does not mean that does not mean that it's going to dictate the rest of your day, unless you make that an idea in your mind that this is not my day, I'm having a bad day. Remember, just because things aren't going well for you right now, today, does not mean that the rest of your day, the rest of your life is not going to work out for you. Remember, this moment right now, forget about 5 minutes ago, 5 seconds ago. Right now, you have the choice right now to be the person that you want to be, to strive for the person you want to be. You have this moment right now to take steps in the direction that you want to go on your path. Let's take them together. You got this. Go make your day anew. Focus on what makes you feel powerful and really do a routine that you can do each day to make you feel anew. Sometimes I'll do a deep breath in. This moment is anew. And then I go after there. It doesn't matter if I dropped pizzas at work. It doesn't matter if I said something mean to a person and then I regret. I take a deep breath in. I'm anew. And then you just go back in there with that mindset. You apologize. You do whatever you need to do. And you make the day anew. You can change your life right now in this moment. Let's do it today.